In today's video, we are looking at sexuality, what's the big deal, and a polyamorous perspective. Lastly, straight guy in a gay bar, and some closing thoughts on why there are pride celebrations at all. Here we go. Hello, welcome to Confessions and Considerations. I am Callan, your host, and it is still Pride Month at time of recording. Today we're closing out our theme on Pride Month, and this is video part 2 of 2. If you would like to see part 1, hang around to the end of the video. We'll have a card available at the closing. If you are new to the channel, welcome! This channel is here to provide you with an opportunity to anonymously share your closeted confessions or considerations. We usually pick a theme for the month, but when you submit your confession, it can really be any topic that you choose. You'll see that in the submission form. You can submit that by using the link below in the description. We invite you to continue the conversation in the comment section. This video may not be as fun or as comedic as I would hope that these videos would be. All I ask is that you give it a chance. Some of the material is a little heavy today. But first, Layla, the producer, would like to share a programming note.
In July, we are taking a look at the theme, freedom. We want to know what sets you free. What guilty pleasure helps you reset your mood so that you are more open and free? For me, it's finding computer cables to chew. Click the link in the description and anonymously send in those confessions.
Thanks, Layla. So for our first story, it is a consideration, and it is titled Sexuality, What's the Big Deal? And this comes from someone who identifies as anonymous, and they're between the age of 41 and 50 years old. So they write, as a straight male, I don't understand why anyone cares about others' sexuality. Aside from the obvious case for children, animals, etc., I don't really feel like it's anyone's business. There's this odd discuss about same-sex relationships that I can't seem to wrap my head around. Why do they care if it doesn't affect them? What are they threatened by? I am secure enough in my sexuality that I take attention from anyone. That I take attention as a compliment from anyone. In my opinion, humans should have the right to choose who they love. I've heard the argument that people aren't born gay, thus the attraction to the same sex is learned or environmental, deeming it unnatural. No one is born racist or xenophobic either. These are both taught and learned. Attraction, on the other hand, I don't like anime, but many people do. Are they unnatural for enjoying anime? Of course not, but that doesn't mean that people are going to stay in their lane. Why go out of your way to ban rainbow lights on bridges or rainbow flags? In my opinion, it is because your so-called freedom is as shallow as your unfounded fear. I would ask politicians to stay in their lane, but they would just pave over anything for votes and airtime. So they did include in their submission a link to Axios.com for this article for reading about Florida Governor DeSantis and his recent policy. I will link, I don't like to post other people's links for cybersecurity purposes. So instead what I've done is I found the article and I will link that down below to Axios.com. So give it a look if you are curious about the Florida governor's policy, what this person is referring to. So they did say that they would be interested in comments from the channel. So I'll take the question, which is, why do they care if it doesn't affect them? So a few answers here. One is a perceived responsibility of socialization. So especially from older family or community members, they may feel justly or otherwise that they have a role to guide behavior. Some out of love, some out of guilt, some out of shame. Another is projection. So according to Psychology Today, projection is the process of displacing one's feelings onto a different person, animal, or object. The term is most commonly used to describe defensive projection, attributing one's own unacceptable urges to another. So A common human behavior is to interpret life of others through the lens of our own human experiences, often subconsciously. So when others do or have experiences that differ from our own, we may feel uncomfortable. And then lastly, an attachment to older social norms. So for many of us, those are outdated and they do not serve us, and they don't serve everyone equally. So that's maybe the reason why some care if it doesn't affect them. These are my opinions. So, the one that I think I hear a lot is, if you don't like gay sex, don't have gay sex. This is when it becomes a discussion. So those are my thoughts. What are yours? Comment below. Story number 2, also a consideration, called A Polyamorous Perspective. And this is from Paul, who is between the age of 41 and 50 years old. And he writes, lots of chatter about the open poly relationships, and it hasn't been very positive. Climbs onto soapbox. I'm picturing Paul is climbing onto soapbox. He writes, open and polyish here, 23 years and going strong. Peter is my best friend, and we have had other friends. It is a big misconception that we're sexually active outside of our marriage. We've had a throuple. It's one of our most beautiful 5 years in our adventure. My partner is a total top, so if I want to do that, then it's either with another or not at all. So what if I make a new friend and have some fun? Lightning strikes. I don't feel shame. We have boundaries and clear expectations, and that's it. This conservative Christian heteronormative concept of monogamy is not a great fit for many men who like men. It works for some, but it's not for me. As I look back at all the couples we knew, all of them broke due to cheating. So we're the last one standing. Food for thought. And to those who get entrapped by a manipulative narcissist and get hurt, newsflash, it's not just the coupled dudes that are toxic. To the pride peeps, isn't it time we expand our minds and reach for better understanding of how our relationships work versus the heterosexuals? For my answer, I think all partners in relationships would do well to consider how their relationships work, not just the homosexuals, not just those in polyamorous relationships. Everyone should inspect their relationships, and not just in romance, but in all aspects of their lives. The heart of the question does ask that homosexuals consider how their relationships work differently than heteronormative couples. The author invites partners in homosexual relationships to examine what our needs are in these relationships and to be open in how they differ from our heteronormative neighbors. This can be a whole video series, and I'm sure there are people that are wiser and more experienced in this than I can contribute to the conversation, but I hope that this is a good start. So if you're watching and if you're one of these experts, feel free to lead the conversations in the comments below. I would love to see what others know about this. Okay, and so for our last story, it is a confession. Straight guy in a gay bar. I enjoyed reading this one, so I'm going to enjoy sharing it with you. In college, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself here. So this is by someone who is anonymous and also 41 to 50 years old. It seems like the Gen Xers has this week locked down. I would love a more variety pull from different generations though, which is why I put the age modifier there. If you are of a different age group and you would like to contribute, just know that I am really eager to share your story too. Anyway, I digress. Anonymous writes, in college, I occasionally went out to gay bars with some of my gay friends. I am straight, but I still enjoyed myself. My friends would protect me from unwanted advances, not that it was necessary. As a guy in a gay bar, it was kind of nice to receive the attention, especially when it came to being bought drinks. Normally, I would tell them that I was straight, and that would be the end of it. One time, I had one particularly overconfident guy say that once I had enough drinks in me, he could get me to change my mind, amongst other innuendos. Out loud, I said, challenge accepted. To his disappointment, I went home with my friends that night, and to his credit, he didn't complain about the high bar tab. Am I the asshole? He asks that, and I say no. This reads to me as the two of you consented to a game of alcoholic chicken. He risked his money, and you risked your liver and perhaps your dignity. Both of you accepted the challenge, and you had friends willing and able to protect you if necessary. What I will say, in today's climate, I would caution two things. One, I'm concerned about people being roofied. In this context, being roofied is someone who's being raped after their drink is poisoned with a drug. These drugs can be tasteless, odorless, and easily dissolvable. Male privilege is also a thing, as well as youth and vulnerability. I think cis-presenting guys can take more risks like these, where others, non-cis men or women in general, may not. If others were to play this game in this climate, I hope that they have sober friends monitoring them against foul play. There's always a rule, like if you go out with friends to a bar, you leave with those friends. I'm sure that there are people who are much more into the club scene than I was. What was your experience? Did this ever happen to you, where, especially if you were a straight person going to a gay bar, did you notice gay men hitting on you and offering to buy you drinks in exchange for lowering your inhibitions? Share your stories below. Lastly, I want to end by answering the question about why there are pride parades or even a Pride Month. So, this has been sent to me a few times on social media, and I feel that the creator of this meme puts in a word so much better than I. So it reads, "The painful part of being a queer kid is not in knowing you're queer. It's in the not knowing. You know you're different, but you don't know why. The other kids know you're different too. In fact, they never let you forget it. But no one gives you a language for it. No one gives you a mirror. And so you just sit there, quietly, being different, not fitting in, trying to be invisible. And so you are truly alone." This past New Year's Day, an elder in my family said to me in a stern voice that he does not want me to mention to him that I'm gay. He doesn't want me bringing it up in stories. He doesn't want to be reminded. This was after I pointed out to him and others at this family gathering that it is hard to be in the family knowing that they are actively voting to suppress my rights even while they profess to love me. And so I'm reminded by this. I'm reminded by Pride Month. I'm reminded by Pride parades that visibility is activism. It is to show that you're not alone. It is to show that you are part of a community and that you don't have to try to be invisible, and that you are not alone. Happy Pride Month. Well, this is all lighthearted and fun, isn't it? As with all of these stories, carry on the conversation with your thoughts in the comments. If what was reviewed left you pensive or persuaded, please do all the YouTube things, like, comment, subscribe. Hitting subscribe takes a second and it helps the channel. Your anonymous confessions and considerations make this channel. July's topic is freedom. All right, Layla, what do you think?
Okay, that's a wrap.